Welcome to another Tech Help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Ross. Today is part 2 of my DLookup multiple criteria series. And I don't know how many parts are going to be. This is part 2. I never know how many parts there's going to be until I'm done. Because sometimes I take topics and I expound upon them. Sometimes the stuff goes long. I don't know. So we'll figure it out. But if you haven't watched part 1 yet, go watch that first, then come on back. All right, so in part 1, we learned about Elliott's little grid here, where you take the quantity, and you got to find the quantity between these two values and in that pricing tier, and then you can return a discount. And in the last video, we got all that set up. We got our discount table right there, and we got our order table where we put in the number of units that the person purchased and the tier, and then we're going to look them up in this. But let's take a look at the DLookup itself. Let's start off by just addressing what are we trying to do, and then we'll slowly convert that over into a criteria string for our DLookup. All right, so we've got 12 units in tier A. So we're basically saying, okay, 12 has to be greater than or equal to the minimum quantity, and 12 has to be less than or equal to the maximum quantity, and the tier has to be A. So how would we write that as a criteria using the kind of Boolean logic that we see in our criteria strings? Well, first off, 12, our value, our units, right, is greater than or equal to the minimum quantity. Then we have to add onto that an AND condition, right? And 12 is less than or equal to the max quantity. And then we also have to add on the tier. Okay, and the tier equals A. So 12 is greater than or equal to the minimum quantity. You can write it the other way if you want to. If you're happy with that, you could say min quantity is greater than or equal to 12. That doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Okay? And do you need parentheses around all this? No. You only need parentheses if it's like one or the other, or if you got an or condition in there and something else has to be. Don't worry about the parentheses for now. We don't need parentheses for this example. Okay. The next thing to take into consideration is that tier is a string value. It's not a number. Okay? Remember, string values have to be enclosed inside of double quotes. So make sure you put your double quotes on it. Okay? Remember, dates, if you have a date value, they got to be enclosed inside of pound signs. So if we did have a date, we'd have to put it inside of pound signs. But we don't, so we don't need that. Don't worry about that. Okay? So that's where we're at so far. Now, the next thing to remember is this whole thing has to be inside of a string value, right? Here's a complete DLookup statement that you should be familiar with, right? If I'm looking up the first name from the customer table, here's the criteria right there. Stupid selection. It's selecting the other stuff. Stop it, PowerPoint. That's right here. This is the selected text from here to there. All right, that's all inside of a string. So our criteria that we're building has to be inside of quotes itself, right? This whole thing is a string value. What does that mean? Well, we're going to put a quote here, and we're going to put a quote out here. But if you got quotes inside of quotes, you have to replace each of these with double quotes, okay? Double quotes, and this one has to be double quotes. And I'm going to bold these ones and make them red, just so they show. Just so they look differently. All right, we're going to make these guys red. Those and those. Those are the quotes around the A. Can you use single quotes? Yes, in this example you could, but I don't like single quotes. I got a whole separate video on why. Here's a video about it if you want to learn more. I just say use double quotes in Access. Stay away from single quotes. My opinion. And yes, I think it would be a whole lot easier in Access if Access would colorize stuff like this too. So, Sammy, put that on the list. That'll never get added, but put it on the list anyways. For those of you who don't know, we're keeping a wish list of things we'd like to see added to Access. If I ever do get in front of the Access team to talk to them about it. It's what, 150 items long now? It's getting up there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do now is substitute our actual values in. Okay, so 12 is just something we put up here to make this make sense. That's actually the field called units. All right, so now we're going to take this 12 and replace it with units, but we're going to replace it outside the string. All right, see what I did there? I put units outside the string, and then with a little concatenation, we added it in. So this will get replaced with units. Let me see if I can do that. There we go. See, that units will be replaced with a 12 when this string actually gets figured out, right? When Access compiles the string. So it'll be units, which is 12, goes there. And now we'll do the same thing here and replace that with units. But again, it's going to be outside the string. So it's going to be quote and units and quote, like that. See? This takes units and brings it outside the string. Yeah, I know it's PowerPoint. Forgive me. Okay. Now we also have to do the same thing with the A from the tier. This guy has to be brought outside. Now I'm going to just make this 2 lines and make it easier. This is the same line, same command. Okay, this is all inside the same string. Now this is where this gets even trickier because we're going to cut that A out and put the word tier in there. But again, we have to close the quotes, add tier, and then open the quotes again. You see how that works? So this is the double quote inside the string. This closes the string. Then we add tier. Then we have to open the string up again, put double quotes inside the string, and then close the string itself one more time. All right, you with me? All right, I think now we're ready to take this criteria over to Access and put that in an actual DLookup statement. So let's go back over to our database. Okay. And I'm going to put this in a query. So let's create query design. And just to keep things simple for now, I'm just going to bring in the order table. And I just want to see the order ID, the order date, let's say. And the units and the tier are the 2 things that matter. Okay. And over here, we'll put a calculated field in here with our discount. All right, so I'm going to zoom in, Shift F2. We're going to call this discount. That's the calculated field value. It's going to be DLookup. What are we looking up? Discount from what table? The discount T. And then here is where we put our criteria that we just worked so hard on. So I'm going to go back over to PowerPoint. I'm going to put this in one line so it all copies nice and even. Okay, and I'm going to just copy this and come back over here and paste it in. Just like that. Okay, and then I'll put a closed parentheses on the end of it, and that should be our completed function. And let's run it and see what we get. Look at that. Perfect. We'll deal with the errors and the stuff in a minute, but as you can see, it's working. Let's verify our values. Let's take a look here and see. Give me my discount table. Okay, what do we got? All right, 12 and A should be 0.1. That's 10%. So 12 falls between these, and that's A, and that's a 10%. Good. We can format this later. All right, 18 and A, so 18 should fall in this tier. Perfect, 15%. 6B is right there, and 11C would be right there, 19. Perfect. So as you can see, it's working great now. Let's put one more in down here. Let's put in 35C. And I got a 22. Excellent. All right. So our formula is working so far. Now, let's handle this error that we're getting here. All right. If the values aren't found in the table, it's going to return an error. We can get rid of that error with the NZ function. Yeah, I know. I should have put this on your prerequisites. I'm sorry. But go watch it now if you've never used NZ before. NZ basically says, if you're going to return a null value, that's going to give me an error message. I don't want a null value. I want you to convert it to 0. Or for strings, you can make it an empty string. Or for dates, you can make it some really old value like 1990. Whatever. It's basically saying that if the value doesn't exist and you're going to get null, give me something else. Now, there's a couple places we got to put NZs, but let's start with one of them. Come in here, design view. Let's go back to our big function here. Okay. Now, we can wrap this whole thing in NZ, like that, and then put a comma 0 on the end, which means if this whole thing is going to return a null value, give me a 0. Okay, but if I run it, I still get errors. And why is that? Well, that's because the values we're sending into it are also zeros. So we have to take those into consideration too. All right, so right here, where we got units, and right here where we've got the tier, we have to use NZ as well. So we can say right here, if units is null, NZ. What do you want to send into this function if units is null? Send it as 0. Okay? And that way it'll look up 0 in our table. It can't look up null in the table. So that's why we're getting an error message. Okay? It'll just never return a value. So this will return a null, and the outside NZ will take care of that. Okay? We also have to escape this one, NZ units, comma 0. And we also have to deal with, well, what if the tier is 0 or null? All right, NZ. Now, we don't want to return a 0 since this is a string value. We're going to return an empty string, just like that. Okay, so garbage in, garbage out. All right, hit OK. Let's save this. I'm going to call this my order queue. Oh, I already have an order queue. Order discount queue. And now when we run it, there we go. No more errors, and we get our discount is always 0. Okay, and that's it. There's your big nasty DLookup function. And you can't practice this enough, people. This was just as confusing to me when I first started doing this stuff as a lot of you. I know your heads are spinning. I was too. It took me a lot of practice to get this stuff down to the point where I could teach it. And you know how they always say that when you teach people stuff, you'll learn it better yourself. When I started teaching this stuff in the classroom, like late 1990s, 97-ish, right? And I had to prepare lessons on it. It helped me to better understand it myself. So if you can explain this to someone else, that will actually help you learn it yourself. Your brain kind of rewires it differently when you teach something. And I've taught this, I don't know how many times and how many hundreds of videos. So, but it's good stuff, and we will do more of these as time goes on because I get asked a lot of this stuff, especially like with multiple dates and stuff. So if you've got a good DLookup question, then send it to me. In fact, here's one that was just posted a couple of hours ago in the forum, and one of my students, Andrew. And one of the difficult things for me, as both a consultant and as a teacher, is to take a look at your names of your fields and try to understand what's going on, right? What is AQL? I don't understand what his terms are, but essentially it's very similar to what we just went over, right? He's got a table over here, all right, where he's got a start value and an end value, and then basically this AQL, it looks like his tier that I was using A, B, and C for. And he wants to be able to return this number here. Right? So someone puts in a lot quantity, basically the number of units they purchased. It has to fall in this range. Pick the AQL, whatever that means, right? 6.5, 2.5, whatever. So it's going to match that. And then he wants to return this value. And that's almost exactly what we just did in this video. And here's the function that I helped him with. Same kind of thing. Look up the ID in that table where the lot range start is less than or equal to the lot quantity and greater than the other quantity, and it's got to be equal to whatever that AQL value is. And his are all numbers, so that's even easier. Okay? Now, you've got this discount figured out. How do you incorporate this discount in your order system? That's the question, right? If you look at my order entry system, let's say I'm going to give these order discounts to that order. Apply it to that total there. How do you do that? That's a good question, huh? Well, I'm not going to say we're going to do it tomorrow in part 3. What I'm going to say is if you want to see how to do that, post a comment down below. And if enough of you are interested, we'll make a part 3, and I'll show you how to incorporate this discount into this order form total here. Okay? If enough people are interested, we'll do that as a part 3. But for today, that is going to be your Tech Help video. I hope you learned something. DLookup is one of those very, very powerful functions that I could do dozens of lessons on it. And I do cover it in a lot more detail in my expert series. In fact, I just went to my course outline index and I covered it. There's 68 entries for it. So it's an expert 10, expert 11. It's in a whole bunch, expert 29. There's lots and lots that I cover with DLookup. Lots and lots of DLookups. Advanced lessons, developer lessons. It's one of those functions. It's just so versatile. I cover it in tons of different classes. And we will be doing more Tech Help videos on it as well. But I hope you learned something today. That's your Tech Help video. Live long and prosper, my friends. And again, if you want to see that thing I showed you, post a comment down below and say, yes, I want to see how to put that discount in the order total. All right, I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have below. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. Click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Want to learn more? Click the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. YouTube does a pretty good job of hiding it. It's right down there. See this part of the description here, right? The name, the video's up here. There's a little Show More down there, right down the bottom. It's kind of hard to find. But once you click on that, you'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. And YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted like they used to do. But if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. And you can pick how frequently to get emails from me, either as they happen, daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, if you'd like to become a paid member of my channel and receive all kinds of awesome perks, click on the Join button. You'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks, including my extended cut videos, access to my code vault, lots of VBA source code in there, template downloads, and lots more. I'll talk more about these perks at the end of the video. Even if you don't want to commit to becoming a paid member and you'd like to help support my work, please feel free to click on the tip jar link. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got some puppies to feed. But don't worry, no matter what, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you really want to learn Access and you haven't tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, and more. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? The whole thing, free, 4 hours. Go watch it. And okay, a lot of you have told me that you don't have time to sit through a 4-hour course. So I do now have a quicker Microsoft Access for Beginners video that covers all the basics faster in about 30 minutes. And no, I didn't just put the video on fast forward. But I'll put a link to this down below as well. Now, if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. That's it, $1. And that's another whole 90-minute course. Level 2 is also free for paid members of any level, including supporters. So if you're a member, go watch level 2. It's free. Okay, want to get your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my TechHelp page and send me your question there. Members get priority, of course. While I do try to read and respond to all of the comments posted below in the comments section, I only have time to go through them briefly a couple of times a month, and sometimes I get thousands of them. So send me your question here on the TechHelp page, and you'll have a better chance of getting it answered. And while you're on my website, be sure to stop by my Access forum. We've got lots of lively conversations about Microsoft Access and other topics. I have a fantastic group of moderators who help me answer questions. Shout out to Alex, Kevin, Scott, Adam, John, Dan, Juan, and everybody else who helps out on the site. I appreciate everything you do. I couldn't do it without you. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on Facebook too, but I don't like Facebook. Don't get me started. Now, let's talk more about those member perks if you do decide to join as a paid member. There are different levels: Silver, Gold, Platinum, and Diamond. Silver members and up get access to all of my extended cut tech help videos, one free beginner class every month, and some other perks. Gold members get all the previous perks, plus access to download the sample databases that I build in my tech help videos, plus access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use, the code that I build in most of the videos. You'll also get higher priority if you do submit any tech help questions. Now, answers are never guaranteed, but you do go higher in the list for me to read them. And if I like your question, you got a good chance of it being answered. You'll also get one free expert level class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members Get all the previous perks plus even higher priority for TechHelp questions. You get access to all of my full beginner level courses for every subject. And I cover lots of different subjects like Word, Excel, VBA, ASP, lots of different stuff, not just Access. These are the full-length courses found on my website. You get all the beginner ones. In addition, once you finish the expert classes, you get one free developer class per month. So lots of training. And finally, you can also become a Diamond sponsor. You'll have your name or your company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown on each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you again soon.